Hello, everybody, and welcome to this reading of the Elder Scrolls. I am Double Negative, and this is part 2 of the 36 Lessons of Vivec. If you didn't catch the previous part, then please listen to it first. Sermon 7. As the caravan of Nerevar now made for the capital of Veloth anon Almalexia, there came great rumblings from the Oblivion. A duke among scamps wandered into the House of Troubles, pausing before each scripture door to pay his respects, until finally he was met by the major domo of Mehrunes Dagon. The Duke of Scamps said, "I was summoned by Lord Dagon, master of the foul waters and fire, and I have brought the penance of my 7 legions." The major domo, whose head was a bubble of foul water and fire, bowed low, so that the head of the Duke of Scamps became enclosed in his own. He saw the first pennant, which commanded a legion of grim warriors who could die at least twice. He saw the second pennant, which commanded a legion of winged bulls and the Emperor of Color that rode upon each. He saw the third pennant, which commanded a legion of inverted gorgons, great snakes whose scales were the faces of men. He saw the fourth pennant, which commanded a legion of double-crossed lovers. He saw the fifth pennant, which commanded a legion of jumping wounds looking to hop upon a victim. He saw the sixth pennant, which commanded a legion of abridged planets. He saw the seventh pennant, which commanded a legion of armored winning moves. To which the major domo said, "Duke Kuuta, your legions, while mighty, are not enough to destroy Nerevar or the Triune Way. Look upon the Hortator and see the wisdom he takes to wife." And they looked into the middle world and saw, evaporating in a throng of thunder, of war and chitin men, where destines take him further from our ways, the heat that we have wanted and pray they still remember, where destines clothe the distance, glad in the golden east that we saw it now, instead of the war and repair of the oblivious fracture, a curse on the Hortator, and 2 more on his hands. And the Duke of Scamps saw the palms of the Hortator, upon which the egg had written these words of power. Gartok Padhom, Gartok Padhom. The ending of the words is Alm Sevi. Sermon 8. And presently Nerevar and Vivec were within sight of the capital, and the 4 corners of the House of Troubles knew that it was not time to contest them. The caravan musicians made a great song of entrance, and the elven gates of the Mournhold were thrown wide. Iam was accompanied by her husband's state, a flickering image that was channeled to her ever-changing female need. Around her were the Shouts, a guild now forgotten, who carried with them the whims of the people, for the Velothi then were still mostly good at heart. The Shouts were the counselors of Iam and the country, though they sometimes quarreled and needed Set to wring them into usefulness. Iam approached Nerevar, who was by now adorned in the flags of House Indoril. He gifted her with the simulacrum of the netchiman's wife and the egg of Vivec inside. Iam said to Nerevar, "Set, who is Azura, has revealed that war is come, and that the Hortator that shall deliver us will approach with a solution walking at his side." Nerevar said, "I have traveled out of my way to warn you of the deceit of our enemies, the Dwemer, but I have learned much on the journey and have changed my mind. This netchiman's wife you see at my side is a sword and symbol, and there is prophecy inside. It tells me that, like it, we must for a while be like he is, and, as a people, cloaked in our former enemies, and to use their machines without shame." At which Vivec spoke aloud. "Boethia, who was you, wore the skin of Trinimac to cleanse the faults of Veloth, my queen, and so it should be again. This is the walking way of the glorious." Set appeared out of a cloud of iron vapor, and his minions made of their blood a chair. He sat beside Iam and looked on the rebirth of mastery. Vivec said to them, his triune, "My rituals and ordeals and all the rhymes within use no other motive than the revelation of my skin." Iam said, "I am a Seti a Vec. We are delivered and made whole. The diamond of the black hands is uncovered." Set said, "Wherever so he treads, there is invisible scripture." To which the shouts were silent in sudden reading. Vivec then reached out from the egg all his limbs and features, merging with the simulacrum of his mother, gilled and blended in all the arts of the star-wounded East, under water and in fire and in metal and in ash, 6 times the wise. And he made the union of male and female, the magic hermaphrodite, the martial axiom, the sex death of language and unique in all the middle world. He said, "Let us now guide the hands of the Hortator in war and its aftermath, for we go different and in thunder. This is our destiny." The ending of the words is Almsevie. Sermon 9. Then came the war with the northern men, where Vivec did guide the Hortator into swift and tricky union with the Dwemer. The greatest demon chieftains of the frigid west were those listed below, 5 in unholy number. Hoaga, the mouth of mud, who appeared as a great bearded king, had the powers of marshalling and breathing the earth. On the battlefields, this demon would often be seen on the sidelines, eating the soil voraciously. When his men fell, Hoaga would fill their bodies back with it, whereupon they would rise again and fight, albeit slower. He had a secret name, Fenya, and destroyed 17 Chimeri villages and 2 Dwemeri strongholds before being turned away. Chamua, the running hunger, who appeared as a mounted soldier with full helm, had the powers of heart-roaring and of sky-sickening. He ate the Chimeri hero Drez Kizumit-E, sending the spirit back to the Hortator as an assassin. Sometimes called First Blighter, Chamua could give clouds stomach aches and turn the rain of Veloth into bile. He destroyed 6 Chimeri villages before he was slain by Vivec and the Hortator. Bog, the two-tongued, who appeared as a great bearded king, had the powers of surety and form change. His raiders were small in number, but ran amok in the west hinterlands, killing many Velothi trappers and scouts. He fell in a great debate with Vivec, for the warrior poet alone could understand the northern man's 2-layered speech, although Almsevie had to remain invisible during the arguments. Barfak, maid of plains, who appeared as a winged human with lick-encrusted spear, had the powers of event denouement. Battles fought against her would always end in victory for Barfak, because she could shape outcomes by singing. 4 Chimeri villages and 2 more Dwemeri strongholds were destroyed by her decision enforcement. Vivec had to stuff her mouth with his milk finger to keep her from singing Veloth into ruin. Ysmir, the dragon of the north, who always appears as a great bearded king, had powers innumerable and echoing. He was grim and dark, and the most silent of the invading chieftains, though when he spoke, villages were uplifted and thrown into the sea. The Hortator fought him unarmed, grabbing the dragon's roars by hand until Ysmir's power throat bled. These roars were given to Vivec to bind into an ebony listening frame, which the warrior poet placed on Ysmir's face and ears to drive him mad and drive him away. The coming forth and the driving away brings all things around. What I shall say next is unpleasant to record. Hermamora Altadun, Altadun. The ending of the words is Alm Savi. Sermon 10. You have discovered the 10th sermon of Vivec, which was hidden in the words that came in the aftermath to the Hortator. The evoker shall raise his left hand empty and open, to indicate he needs no weapons of his own. The coming forth is always hidden, so the evoker is always invisible, or better, in the skin of his enemies. The eyelid of the kingdom shall fill 36 folios, but the eye shall read the world. By this the Hortator needs me to understand. The sword is an impatient signature. Write no contracts on the dead. Vivec says unto the Hortator, remember the words of Boet Hi'ah. We pledge ourselves to you, the frame maker, the scarab, a world for us to love you in, a cloak of dirt to cherish. Betrayed by your ancestors when you were not even looking. Hoary Magnus and his ventured opinions cannot sway the understated, a trick worthy of the always satisfied. A short season of towers, a rundown absolution. And what is this? What is this but fire under your eyelid? Shift ye in your skin, I say to the Trinimac eaters. Pitch your voices into the color of bruise. Divide ye like your enemies in houses, and lay your laws in set sequence from the center, again like the enemy corners of the house of troubles. And see yourself thence as timber, or mud slats, or sheets of resin. Then do not divide, for yet is the stride of Sithisit quicker than the rush of enemies, and he will sunder the whole for the sake of a shingle. For we go different and in thunder. Sithisit is the start of all true houses, built against stasis and lazy slaves. Turn from your predilections, broken like false maps. Move and move like this. Quicken against false fathers, mothers left in corners weeping for glass and rain. Stasis asks merely for nothing, for itself, which is nothing, as you were in the 8 everlasting imperfections. Vivec says unto the Hortator, remember the words of Vivec. Understand that Sithicist still travels. Vivec says unto the Hortator, remember the words of Vivec. In a phosphorescent mirror of the sky. Vivec says unto the Hortator, remember the words of Vivec, drowned and smiling. Vivec says unto the Hortator, remember the words of Vivec, intermittent hopes enough. Vivec says unto the Hortator, remember the words of Vivec, to answer all the things. Vivec says unto the Hortator, remember the words of Vivec, not yet queried. The ending of the words is Alm Savi. Sermon 11. These were the days of Resdania, when Chimer and Dwemer lived under the wise and benevolent rule of the Alm Savi, and their champion, the Hortator. When the gods of Veloth would retreat unto their own, to mold the cosmos and other matters, the Hortator would at times become confused. Vivec would always be there to advise him, and this is the first of the 3 lessons of ruling kings. The waking world is the amnesia of dreams. All motifs can be mortally wounded. Once slain, themes turn into the structure of future nostalgia. Do not abuse your powers, or they will lead you astray. They will leave you like rebellious daughters. They will lose their virtue. They will become lost and resentful, and finally become pregnant with the seed of folly. Soon you will be the grandparent of a broken state. You will be mocked. It will fall apart like a stone that recalls that it is really water. Keep nothing in your house that is neither needed or beautiful. Ordeals you should face unimpeded by the world of restriction. The splendor of stars is Iam's domain. The selfishness of the sea is Set's. I rule the middle air. All else is earth and under your temporal command. There is no bone that cannot be broken except for the heart bone. You will see it twice in your lifetimes. Take what you can the first time and let us do the rest. There is no true symbolism of the center. The Sharmat will believe there is. He will feel that he can cause years of exuberance from sitting in the sacred, when really no one can leave that state and cause anything more but strife. There is once more the case of the symbolic and barren. The true prince that is cursed and demonized will be adored at last with full hearts. According to the codes of Mephala, there can be no official art, only fixation points of complexity that will erase from the awe of the people given enough time. This is a secret that hides another. An impersonal survival is not the way of the ruling king. Embrace the art of the people and marry it, and by that I mean secretly have it murdered. The ruling king that sees in another his equivalent rules nothing. The secret of weapons is this: they are the mercy seat. The secret of language is this: it is immobile. The ruling king is armored head to toe in brilliant flame. He is redeemed by each act he undertakes. His death is only a diagram back to the waking world. He sleeps the second way. The Sharmat is his double, and therefore you wonder if you rule nothing. Hortator and Sharmat, 1 and 1, 11, an inelegant number. Which of the ones is more important? Could you ever tell if they switched places? I can, and that is why you will need me. According to the codes of Mephala, there is no difference between the theorist and the terrorist. Even the most cherished desire disappears in their hands. This is why Mephala has black hands. Bring both of yours to every argument. The one-handed king finds no remedy. When you approach God, however, cut both of them off. God has no need of theory, and he is armored head to toe in terror. The ending of the words is Alm Savi. Sermon 12. As the Hortator pondered the first lesson of ruling kings, Vivec wandered into the Mournhold and found that Iam was with a pair of lovers. Set had divided himself again. Vivec then leapt through into their likenesses to observe, but he gained no secrets that he did not already know. He left a few of his own behind to make the journey worthwhile. Then Vivec left the capital of Veloth and wandered far into the ash. He found a span of badlands to practice his giant form. He made of his feet a less dense material than the divine to keep from falling waist deep into the earth. At this point, the first corner of the House of Troubles, the Prince Molag Bal, made his presence known. Vivec looked on the King of Rape and said, "How very beautiful you are that you do not join us." And Molag Bal crushed the warrior poet's feet, which were not invulnerable, and had legions cleave them off. Mighty fires from the beginning place were brought like nets to hold Vivec, and he let them. "I would prefer," he said, "some kind of ceremony if we are to be married." And the legions that took the feet were summoned again and ordered to begin a banquet. Pomegranates sprang from the Badlands and tents were raised. A throng of Velothi mystics came, reading the passages of the severed feet on the ground and weeping until the scriptures were wet. "We must love each other briefly," Vivec said, "if at all. I am needed to counsel the Hortator in more important matters, because the Dwemer high priests stir up trouble. You may have my head for an hour." Molag Bal rose up and extended 6 arms to show his worth. They were decorated in runes of seduction and its reverse. They were decorated in the annotated calendars of longer worlds. When he spoke, mating monsters fell out. "Where must it go?" he said. "I told you," Vivec said. "I am meant to be the teacher of the king of the earth, E Altadun Gartok Padhome." With these magic words, the king of rape added another, Chim, which is the secret syllable of royalty. Vivec had what he needed from the Daedroth and so married him that day. In the hour that Bal had his head, the king of rape asked for proof of love. Vivec spoke 2 poems to show him such, but only the first is known. "I am not sure just how much glass it took to make your hair. Twice as much, I am sure, as the oceans have to share. Hell, my sweet, is a fiction written by those who tell the truth. My mouth is skilled at lying, and its alibi a tooth." The sons and daughters of Vivec and Molag Bal number in the thousands. The name of the mightiest is a string of power. Gulgamur Jil Hayet E Hum. The ending of the words is Alm Sevi. This has been a reading of the 36 Lessons of Vivec, Sermons 6 through 12, from the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. This has been Double Negative. If you liked this video, then please do click the like button. If not, then you can click the dislike button. If you would like to hear more reading of the Elder Scrolls, including the next part of the 36 Lessons of Vivec, then please do not forget to subscribe. Thank you very much.